At the edge of Antarctica, there is an island where wild animals outnumber humans by millions to one. Beaches that move, not because of waves, but because they're covered in living bodies. This is South Georgia Island, the most wildlife-dominated island on the planet. Welcome to Nomad's Echoes, where we travel to the most extreme places on Earth to understand how this planet really works. South Georgia lies deep in the Southern Ocean, about 1,400 kilometers east of the Falkland Islands and just north of Antarctica's frozen domain. There are no cities nearby, no supply routes, no safety nets. The island stretches about 170 kilometers long, a spine of sharp mountains, glaciers and fjords rising straight from the sea. More than half of the island is permanently glaciated. Storms slam into it year-round. Winds regularly exceed 100 kilometers per hour. Snow can fall in the middle of summer. By every logical measure, this should be a biological dead zone. But it isn't. South Georgia is not quiet. It roars, it bellows, it moves. The beaches aren't sand, they're bodies. Over 400,000 elephant seals, some weighing up to 4,000 kilograms. Millions of fur seals packed so tightly the ground disappears. And more than 1 million king penguins forming colonies visible from space. This island doesn't host wildlife, it is wildlife. During breeding season the noise is constant. Deep guttural roars from elephant seals, the metallic calls of penguins, the endless cries of seabirds circling overhead. There are moments here where you don't see land at all, only moving life. Before understanding why life thrives here, you need to understand what that life actually looks like. Because South Georgia doesn't feel inhabited, it feels alive. The first thing you notice isn't the cold, it's the movement. The beaches move, not subtly, not occasionally, constantly. Elephant seals lie packed together in numbers that erase the coastline. Massive males weighing several tons barely lift their heads as you pass until suddenly they do. When they move, the ground shakes. When they fight, the sound carries for kilometers. These beaches aren't resting places, they're battlegrounds. Breeding season turns the coast into a hierarchy of size, scars, and dominance. Females cluster together. Males patrol the edges. Everything happens in plain sight. Just inland, the noise changes. Thousands turn into hundreds of thousands. King penguins stand packed so tightly that individual bodies blur into patterns. Parents leave for weeks at sea, trusting memory and instinct to find their chick again among the chaos. And somehow, they do. Chicks wait, alone, through storms, snow and freezing wind. Survival here isn't fast, it's patient. Fur seals fill the spaces in between, agile, aggressive, everywhere. They weren't always here. After being hunted almost to extinction, their population rebounded so violently that parts of the island now feel overrun. Paths disappear under bodies, landing zones vanish overnight, and above it all the air is never empty. Albatrosses glide without effort, using the wind as structure rather than resistance. Petrels and skuas patrol constantly, watching, waiting, stealing, surviving. Nothing here wastes energy. Nothing moves without reason. Every species on this island is optimized for one thing: existing where mistakes are fatal. There are no land predators, no trees, no shelter beyond rock, ice, and bodies pressed together for warmth. Life here survives by density, by numbers, by overwhelming the environment instead of fighting it. This isn't a balanced ecosystem in the gentle sense. It's an ecosystem running at full capacity. And once you see that, once you understand how crowded, loud, and physical this place is, the next question becomes unavoidable. How does an island this alive exist in a climate this hostile? That answer lies beneath the surface. To understand why life gathers here in such impossible numbers, we need to stop looking at the land and start looking at the ocean. So how is this possible? The answer isn't the land, it's the ocean. South Georgia sits directly in the path of the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, the largest ocean current on Earth. This current drags cold, nutrient-rich water from the depths to the surface, creating one of the most productive marine ecosystems on the planet. Plankton explodes, fish multiply, and everything above them follows. This island is essentially plugged directly into the planet's food supply. Cold doesn't stop life here, it feeds it. Up to this point, South Georgia sounds almost impossible. Cold, storms, ice, and yet life explodes. But here's the part that's easy to miss. The same forces that make this island one of the most biologically productive places on Earth also make it actively hostile to humans. Because abundance doesn't mean balance, it means pressure. During breeding season, beaches are not just crowded, they're unusable. Elephant seals weigh several tons and move unpredictably. Penguin colonies stretch for kilometers, leaving no clear ground to walk on. Aggressive males defend territory constantly. There are moments when moving safely across land is harder than moving across ice. Add to that the climate. Storms can trap you for days. Visibility can collapse in minutes. Landing zones disappear under snow, ice, or animals. South Georgia isn't dangerous because it lacks life. It's dangerous because life dominates everything. And in a place like this, humans don't arrive as settlers. They arrive as outsiders. South Georgia's interior is brutal. Not dramatic brutal, logistical brutal. This island doesn't have a middle. It rises sharply from the sea into a wall of mountains, ice fields and glaciers. From the coast, everything looks close, but nothing is accessible. There are no valleys you can casually walk through, no gentle slopes, no safe shortcuts, just steep ascents, hidden crevasses, collapsing ice, and weather that changes without warning. Even today, with modern equipment, crossing the island on foot is considered extremely high risk. And this is where the illusion breaks. Because South Georgia doesn't just challenge humans physically, it removes margin for error. A twisted ankle isn't inconvenient here, it's potentially fatal. A storm doesn't delay plans, it erases them. Visibility can drop to zero in minutes. Wind can pin you to the ground. Glaciers shift. Snow bridges collapse. There is no rescue coming quickly. There is no backup route. The island doesn't negotiate. And then there's the wildlife. Elephant seals block coastlines entirely. Aggressive males defend territory, weighing several tons. Penguin colonies stretch across natural passages, forcing long detours. You're not navigating empty wilderness. You're navigating a landscape that is already fully occupied. This is the moment where it becomes clear. South Georgia was never meant to be crossed, and certainly not meant to be inhabited. And yet, someone did it. In 1916, this island became the final hope for an entire expedition. After their ship was crushed by Antarctic ice, Ernest Shackleton and his crew were stranded at the bottom of the world. Shackleton sailed 1,300 kilometers across the Southern Ocean in a modified lifeboat. No GPS, no radio, no margin for error. When he finally reached South Georgia, he still wasn't safe. The landing point was on the wrong side of the island, so Shackleton and 2 men did the impossible. They crossed the island's uncharted, glaciated mountains on foot, a journey that had never been completed before. They emerged at a whaling station after 36 hours without rest. Every single man of the expedition survived. South Georgia was the line between life and death. But humans didn't always arrive as survivors. In the early 20th century, South Georgia became one of the world's largest whaling centres. Entire bays were turned into industrial slaughterhouses. Tens of thousands of whales were killed here. The oil shipped worldwide. The remains left behind. Today the whaling stations stand abandoned. Rusting machinery, collapsing buildings frozen in time. They are monuments to excess and warnings. So with all this life, why does no one live here? The answer is simple and uncomfortable. Because South Georgia gives humans nothing they can safely take and demands everything in return. There is no stable ground for cities, no soil for agriculture, no trees for building, no roads connecting the island. Everything must arrive by ship, and ships can only land when the ocean allows it, which isn't often. The weather doesn't follow schedules. Storms shut down access for weeks. Medical evacuation is never guaranteed. A broken bone can become life-threatening. And then there's the wildlife. Living here would mean constant conflict with protected species. You can't expand. You can't fence land. You can't control space. Humans would always be intruders. South Georgia also sits in one of the most tightly protected conservation zones on Earth. No private settlement is allowed. No development is planned. No future expansion exists. And that's not because it's romantic. It's because permanent human presence would destroy the very system that makes this island unique. The seals would lose beaches. The birds would lose nesting ground. The ecosystem would collapse fast. So instead, humans rotate in and out. Scientists, researchers, temporary crews, they arrive, they observe, they leave. Because South Georgia is not empty. It's already occupied completely. A reminder that nature doesn't need us, but sometimes survives despite us. This is South Georgia, and this is one of the loudest, wildest echoes the planet has left us.